My apologies. Welcome to the City of Helena City Commission meeting, July 24th, 2023, 6:01 p.m. This meeting is called to order. Madam Clerk.
City Attorney Doctor.
Here.
City Manager Burton.
Here.
Commissioner Dean.
Here.
Commissioner Logan.
Here.
Commissioner Reed.
Here.
Commissioner Shirtliff.
Here.
Mayor Collins.
Here. Welcome and thank you for participating in the City of Helena City Commission meeting. We are pleased to be able to provide this alternative meeting format in the city's effort to broaden public participation. Please be patient as we may experience technical difficulties during the meeting. We welcome your public commentary. Please read the following tips and guidelines for the app usage and your participation. Would you rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? The minutes from 7/10/23 were received. Any corrections, comments? It will stand as submitted. Presentation. Approve confirmation of Officer Chris Gosviner. Dang, I chewed it up.
Good evening, Mayor and Commission.
Good evening.
So tonight I have an officer that has successfully completed their one-year probationary period with the Helena Police Department. At the end of that probationary period and under Montana state law, the appointment of the officer must be submitted to the City Commission. And if the appointment is confirmed by the City Commission, then the officer becomes a member of our police force. With this said, I'm seeking a vote from the Commission to confirm this officer tonight. Prior to having the Commission vote on this officer's confirmation, and if I may, like to introduce Officer Gosviner. I'm right on you saying it correct. And introduce him and give him a brief background on where he came from and where he came to Helena from. That's okay.
Yes, sure.
Okay. So tonight, again, Officer Chris Gosviner, he started his career as a police officer in 2018 with the Porterville Police Department in California. He chose this path not because it was easy, but because he knew it would provide a stable life for his wife, Olivia, and their children. Additionally, it would bring pride and honor to his family and himself. During his career as an officer, it has not always been easy. With the support of his wife and family, he has been able to succeed. Officer Chris Gosviner chose Helena PD because he noticed their strong camaraderie from initial interviews. He is grateful to have been brought on as part of the team and to not only make Helena PD his career, but also his purpose. With that, if you wouldn't mind, I would like to welcome Chris Gosviner to the HPD family. And if you have a few minutes to where he could talk to the Commission and introduce himself.
Please.
And any guests that you may have in attendance. I saw a bunch of little kids back there, so.
First off, I want to say thank you, Mayor and Chief and the Commission for letting me talk, and I'll thank my family as well for coming. I do have my wife, she's back there, Olivia. She's holding my daughter Lainey, my two younger daughters, Lyndon and Pearson. I have my in-laws here as well, Alex and Andy, and their kids, Cruz and Valen. I got the whole crew here. I was told this is my time to plea for you guys because need the boats. I got a fourth one coming on the way, Connolly. I'm a family of girls, so
That's all right.
I want to be here. I want to work here for my girls, work for the family, work for Portable PD. Sorry, Helena PD. You got me thinking about it. But this is why I came here. I came here for my family. This is where I want to work. This is where I want to be. So thank you.
Thank you.
So
Commission.
with that, sorry, sir, go ahead.
Go ahead.
With that, I would like to seek approval from the Commission for Officer Gosviner's confirmation.
Thank you, Chief. Commissioners. Comments, questions?
Well, Mr. Mayor, I
Go
guess
ahead.
I'll just start off. Congratulations and welcome to Helena. I'm very excited that you've chosen to make Helena your home. And It's a great place for girls. So excited to have a few more to the awesome girls club that we have here in Helena. And congratulations. We're grateful that you're choosing to be a public servant here and excited to see your career thrive.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
congratulations and welcome to Helena. We're glad to have you, your family. I spent some time briefly in Bakersfield, California, so I don't blame you for wanting to be here. It's yeah, I do not. So welcome to Helena and congratulations. Welcome aboard.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. Officer Gosviner, thank you for coming to Helena and being willing to serve here, and wish you the best of luck in your career. Thank you.
Thank you. Not much more to add other than congratulations and welcome. And could we get a correct pronunciation of your name for the record, please? Because now I'm really curious.
So guys, Diener.
Gosviner.
Gosviner.
Cool. Thank you. Welcome.
Welcome, Officer Gosvina. We appreciate you and thanks for bringing your family. We also welcome your family. And those girls will be in the force also, so don't worry about it. They'll take care, they'll handle themselves. So,
They're gonna be.
well, welcome. And we will now,
Mr. Mayor, I will go ahead and make a motion to approve the confirmation of Officer Chris Gosviner.
Second,
it's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion from the commission? If not, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Dean,
Aye.
Commissioner Logan,
Aye.
Commissioner Reed,
Aye.
Commissioner Shertliff,
aye.
Mayor Collins.
Aye.
The motion carries 5-0.
Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Board appointments. Board appointments, ADA Compliance Committee, City, County, Regional Airport Authority. I am recommending the following board appointments. ADA Compliance Committee, appointment of Jacob Krasovich to an interim term on the ADA Compliance Board as a disabled citizen representative. Interim term will expire September 1st, 2024. I'm also recommending City County Regional Airport Authority, appointment of Jason Davis to an interim term on the City County Regional Airport Authority as a joint appointee. Interim term will expire September 1st, 2024. Commissioners? Comments, questions? I'll
Mr.
entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I will move to approve the following board appointments. ADA Compliance Committee, the appointment of Jacob Krasovich to an interim term on the ADA Compliance Board and as a disabled citizen representative. Interim term will expire September 1st, 2024. And the City County Regional Airport Authority, appointment of Jason Davis to an interim term on the City County Regional Airport Authority as a joint appointee. Interim term will expire on September 1st, 2024.
Second,
It's been moved and seconded. And final discussion. Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Dean,
Aye.
Commissioner Logan,
Aye.
Commissioner Reed,
Aye.
Commissioner Shertliff,
aye.
Mayor Collins.
Aye.
The motion carries 5-0.
Communications proposals from the commissioners. What say you? Moving along, report of the city attorney,
Mayor, Commissioners, I have nothing to report tonight. Thank you.
report of the city manager.
Mayor, with your permission, I'd like to invite Director McMahon up to just brief the commission on the status of the SSD dispatch union negotiations.
You bet. You have the floor.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners.
Good evening.
Happy to report to you that we have a fully executed contract with the SSD Dispatch Local 7790. I just want to say a couple words about this. In January, the management received notice to open our contract negotiations. In June 29th, we reached a tentative agreement for all the sections. From the local president, she wrote to me, thanks to the openness and collaboration of all parties involved, the union members were involved with negotiations throughout the entirety of the process and provided a majority verbal vote June 27th and a majority final vote on June 29th. On July 18th, retroactively to July 1, the fully executed contract was complete. So that will be effective July 1. Just to say a few words about this contract negotiation. Commissioner Logan might remember within my first week, maybe 2, he came to my office and he wanted to express to me his interest in interest-based bargaining for the union contracts at the city. And I read about it, I studied up on it, and I will tell you the contract negotiations for the SSD dispatch was textbook interest-based bargaining. The dispatchers and the management were interested really in one thing and one thing only, and that was to best serve our citizens and our community. They've had some challenges with staffing issues, so we talked a lot about how to best serve our community and the county and the city, given those staffing shortages. And we were completely collaborative, open, honest. And I will say that the management side, especially the 2 program managers in the dispatch center, have rapport and trust with those dispatchers. And that made a huge difference in these negotiations. There was a lot of cleanup. There was redundancy, some old language that we cleaned up. But there were some things that we were able to accomplish. One is we had an MOU in place for on-call with all the short staff issues. So we were able to negotiate that into the contract. They added a mental health program incentive, which was, I think, important for the work that they do. They had a discussion on bidding for holidays because they wanted that to be fair. They have very few who are senior. They have 1 or 2 senior dispatchers, and most of them are new. So in order to give them equal access to some of the holidays. Compensation, we created a small increment wage increase for years beyond 5 years of service. They used to be capped at 5 years of service. So now we have some small incentives for people who stay longer. The total impact of that negotiated item, including benefits, was a little over $11,000. So we felt like that was fair. So I just wanted to also say, we renewed this contract for July 1, 23 through June 30 of 25. So it's a 2-year contract. Typically, these contracts are 3 years, but intentionally we spaced this one for 2 years because currently we're in police negotiations. We think we'll renew that one for 3 years. Next year is fire. So we'll probably renew that one for 3 years. And then the year after, this one will come due, and we'll hopefully negotiate that contract for 3. So they'll all stagger. So every year we'll have a contract to negotiate. We're also currently negotiating records, and that typically renews in 3 years. And we anticipate that'll probably be the same. Let's see. With that, if you have any questions, I will honor any questions you might have.
Thank you, Director McMahon. Comments from the commission?
Mr. Mayor, just one really briefly. I was not aware about that we were utilizing interest-based bargaining, but I'm really excited that we are, because I know it has been a game changer for a lot of negotiations all over the state between management and their union. So really excited to see us maybe start utilizing that more for the common good of the whole organization.
Thank you.
And thanks for all the hard work you put into this. We appreciate it.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
just want to say thanks to management staff and to the local for successfully bargaining this contract. And I know interest-based bargaining is a lot of work, but in the long run, it actually works out to be a much quicker process often. So thank you.
Thank you.
You over that?
Mayor Collins, that's all I have.
Thank you. Communications from Helena Citizens Council. Good evening.
member has been doing a good job. There we go. And so we strongly recommend that term limits not be established for advisory boards. An example is the Montana legislature, where we no longer have our John Cobbs or Francis Bardenos, who had the respect of the entire body and could really help governance proceed. So thank you very much.
Thank you. At this time, I will readjust our agenda because we have some guests online that I want to go straight to. Zipley, we will put up the public hearing B on right now. So I'll turn it over to Attorney Doctor. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. I'm Becky Doctor, City Attorney. I'm here for the item to discuss the executing an agreement with the Zipley Fiber Corporation. They're a telecommunications franchise. They're a telecommunications company that's looking to do a franchise in Helena to construct and operate fiber optic lines within Helena for its citizens. Bob Dushin should be online and can speak to this. He's with River Oaks Communications Corporation and has been working with the city to negotiate the agreement itself, and has been working with both of us, both the company and the city. And he can speak to and answer any questions about this. If I could turn it over to him, Mayor.
Please.
Rebecca, thank you. Was that directed to me? I just came off mute, please.
Bob, it was. Thank you.
You bet. So good evening, members of the commission and mayor. I'm Bob Dushin, Vice President of River Oaks Communications Corporation. We've been closely working with the city and Zipley for a number of months on negotiating a non-exclusive telecommunications franchise. Zipley desires to provide telecommunications and information services, internet services in the city. In order to accomplish this, we negotiated a franchise which protects both the rights of the city and enables Zipley to conduct its business operations, to reach out to businesses and residents with its services. Zipley is looking to provide competitive services, and I will defer to Jessica to speak on Zipley's behalf in that regard. And I would also be glad to address any questions that the mayor or commission have this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners? Do you have any comments, questions for Mr. Bob, I think? Okay, so I see Manager Burton, you're also on this. You have any comments you want to make on behalf? Okay, are there any public comments? No public comments, and I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead, Commissioner.
I would move to approve the Zipley Fiber telecommunications franchise to allow Zipley Fiber to construct fiber optic lines within the city right of way.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Dean,
Aye.
Commissioner Logan,
Aye.
Commissioner Reed,
Aye.
Commissioner Shertliff,
Aye.
Mayor Collins.
Aye.
The motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Okay, consent agenda, claims. We'll do one motion. Claims paid on 5/24/23, check number 194,278 through 194,395, and 3 ACH checks for a total of $696,607.84. Claims paid on 5/30/23, 5/31/23, and 6/2/23. Checks number 194,396 through 19448, and 3 ACH payments for $619,970.40. Claims paid on 6/6, 6/7, 6/8, 6/9. Checks number 194,481 through 194,583, with 4 payments for $474,719.55. Claims paid on 6/13/23, 6/15/23. Checks number 194,584 through 194,760. 1 payment for $556,995. Claims paid on 6/21/23, 6/22/23, 6/23/23. Check number 194,791 through 194,864. 4 payments for $591,814.07, for a grand total of $2,940,169.87. Discussion. Do you have any explanation before we move?
You did a great job, Mayor.
Okay,
Thank you.
good. Comments or questions from the commission? I'll entertain a motion then.
Mr. Mayor, I will move to approve the claims paid from May 24th, 2023 through June 23rd, 2023, check numbers 194,278 through 194,864, and 15 ACH payments for a grand total of $2,940,169.87.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Dean,
Aye.
Commissioner Logan,
Aye.
Commissioner Reed,
Aye.
Commissioner Shertliff,
Aye.
Mayor Collins.
Aye.
The motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Consider a resolution distributing Railroad Urban Renewal District Tax Increment Financing Fund to Larson Building LLC for accessible parking and egress improvements. Manager Burton, okay, Planner Ray, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor and Commission. Sorry, City Manager Burton, I didn't mean to steal your thunder. As was mentioned, tonight you're being asked to consider 2 requests for railroad TIF increment financing dollars. The first of which is from Larson Building LLC. In late May, we received an application from John Iverson, the owner of the Larson Building, which is catty corner from the railroad depot, if you're familiar with that area along Helena Avenue. John is looking to make $250,000 worth of improvements to his property, but the request for eligible aspects of his proposal totals $70,533. His request is for, 50% of that. So that is $35,266. And with that, he'll be installing dedicated ADA compliant parking on the southeast corner of the property. And at that same area, he's going to be making improvements that are ADA compliant for the entrances. The application went to the Railroad TIF Advisory Board meeting on the 15th of June and was unanimously recommended for approval at the 50% funding request of $35,266.50. So with that, the recommendation before you tonight is to move to approve distributing Railroad Urban Renewal District tax increment financing funds to Larson Building LLC for accessible parking and ingress improvements. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. Also, John Iverson is available as well.
Thank you. Comments from the commission?
Mr. Mayor, I just have one question and a quick comment. Do we know, we've had a number of requests from the Railroad TIF. Do you know what the remaining dollar amount is in that fund currently?
I will defer to Director Danielson, but I want to say it's in the region of about $450,000, but it might be well in excess of that. It's approximately correct.
Great. And thank you. Appreciate that. I'm really excited about the requests we've been getting from this district in particular. All of them have the theme of, I think, pedestrian connectivity and revitalizing the area, which is the whole purpose of this TIF fund, TIF district. So very excited for that and glad that the applicant brought this project.
Any other comments from the commission? If not, I'll entertain a motion. Oh, any public comments are?
Mayor, City Commissioners, John Iverson representing Larson Building. We're pretty excited to be part of the redevelopment of the Sixth Ward. We think this TIF is doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing. And there's a lot of exciting things happening down there if you haven't been down there recently. The Larson Building, we have 6 going on 7 nonprofits that call that building home. We have another 10 or so small businesses that operate out of that building as well, and 10 residential residents on the second floor that also call it home, some of which have lived there for over 25 years. And so we've come in and we've been there for 11 years now, and we're trying to do everything we can to take this 1903 building up to standards to make it more accessible and more usable to the types of businesses and tenants that represent the diversity of Helena. And so we sure appreciate you taking a look at this. I will be back. I think, again, we have additional improvements we hope to make as money becomes available. But this is the bite of the apple we're taking right now. So thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other public comments on this topic? Madam Clerk, do we have any online?
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, I have no public comment online.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I
Go
move
ahead.
to approve a resolution distributing Railroad Urban Renewal District Tax Increment Financing Funds to the Larson Building LLC for the accessible parking and ingress improvements. Thank you.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Dean,
Aye.
Commissioner Logan,
Aye.
Commissioner Reed,
Aye.
Commissioner Shertliff,
Aye.
Mayor Collins.
Aye.
The motion carries 5-0.
Consider a resolution distributing Railroad Urban Renewal Tax District Tax Increment Financing Fund to Charles Albert Properties LLP to install sidewalks, ADA ramps, and landscaping at the Houston Center. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor and Commission. So this is the second of the 2 proposals for you tonight for the Railroad Urban Renewal District. As you mentioned, this is for Charles Albert Properties LLC. We received an application in early June from Ed Beal, who's the representative of the Limited Liability Partnership. His application is for $13,077, and what he's looking to do is install, well, I should say replace sidewalks, install ADA ramps, and install some new landscaping in the vicinity of Capitol Sports in the Houston Center. This is going to deal with the replacement of about 156 linear feet of sidewalks, which is no small amount, along with the drive approaches into the shopping center, which have kind of fallen into disrepair over the years. And again, he's also going to be installing some landscaping along the edges of the property. The total cost for this effort is $26,154. So his request is 50% of that total amount. And again, at the June 15th advisory board meeting, they did unanimously recommend funding approval for this request. So with that, the recommended motion before you tonight is move to approve a resolution distributing Railroad Urban Renewal District Tax Increment Financing Funds to Charles Albert Properties LLP to install sidewalks, ADA ramps, and landscaping at the Houston Center. If you have questions of me about this proposal, I'm happy to answer them. Also, Ed Beal is present this evening.
Thank you, Planner A. Comments from the commission.
Mr. Rick, can I just ask one brief question? Sorry.
No.
I know that MDT, when they did the sidewalk replacement along the entire stretch, did they do any of the other ADA improvements around this area? Or is there any way that MDT could be of maybe more support to the property owner since they have made so many improvements?
Mayor and Commission, I will actually defer to Director Konopke, but I think the improvements you're referring to are further along, about 2 blocks length away on Montana Avenue, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was across from U-Haul or not, but
I'm getting a nod from Director Konopke.
yes. Okay, great. Thank you.
Do we have any public comments?
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, my name's Ed Beal. I represent Charles Albert Properties. Charles is Joseph Charles Nisler. He's my partner in the business, and my name's Edward Albert Beal, Charles Albert. So our building was built in 1956. It's not quite as grand as Mr. Iverson's. I was 3 years premature, so I wasn't here until 3 years after that. We appreciate the opportunity to make this presentation to you, and I think basically it does a fair bit to enhance the connectivity, walkability, and it does right across the street at U-Haul, as you requested. That did get improved. I don't know if it's MDT or what, but One of these corners that we're going to ADA will go right across to that directly. And I think that's like 183 yards west of Malfunction Junction. So it gives a little more walkability. And then on the other side, it's Helena Avenue and National, which if you go catty corner over to the Capital City Health Club, that's also ADA'd. Yeah, stand for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any further public comments? Madam Clerk, would you check online?
Mr. Mayor, I have no public comment on mine.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead, Commissioner.
thank you. I move to approve a resolution distributing railroad urban renewal district tax increment financing funds to Charles Albert Properties LLP to install sidewalks, ADA ramps, and landscaping at the Hustad Center.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Dean,
Aye.
Commissioner Logan,
Aye.
Commissioner Reed,
Aye.
Commissioner Shertliff,
Aye.
Mayor Collins.
Aye.
The motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Consider a sidewalk variance request for 3424 Highway 12 East. Manager Burton or Director Kanopka, you have the floor.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. As you stated, this is a sidewalk request, variance request for 3424 Highway 12 East. It's one of Dick Anderson's properties. They're requesting curbside sidewalk with this variance request because in the right adjacent to the property line, there are some utility conflicts that would result. So there's also properties to the west that are also currently have curbside sidewalks. So this will fit with the existing conditions. The reason for this variance is the city code 742A requires sidewalks to be placed 1 foot from the property line. So this is the reason for the request of curbside. So we move to approve or recommend approval of the sidewalk placement variance to allow curbside placement along Centennial Drive frontage of Lot 2, Block 6 of the Inter-City Commercial Subdivision Number 1. I'm happy to answer questions.
Thank you. Comments from the commission? Do we have any public comments? Madam Clerk,
Mr. Mayor, I have no comment on mine.
I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead, Commissioner.
move to approve a sidewalk placement variance to allow curbside placement along the Centennial Drive frontage of Lot 2, Block 6 of the Inter-City Commercial Subdivision Number 1.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Dean,
Aye.
Commissioner Logan,
Aye.
Commissioner Reed,
Aye.
Commissioner Shertliff,
Aye.
Mayor Collins.
Aye.
The motion carries 5-0.
Consider a resolution of intentions to set fees charged by the Helena Transportation Systems Department and set a public hearing date. Hearing for August 7, 2023. Okay. You
What's
have the
happening, Mayor?
floor.
Thanks, Mayor. So Mayor and Commissioners, tonight we have a resolution of intention for you for the fees for the Transportation Systems Department. If you remember a few weeks ago on June 21st, we came to you in an admin meeting, presented our fees. So tonight we are representing those for sort of a first pass on them. I worked with the attorney's office to come up with a resolution that sort of give us a blanket opportunity to consolidate all of our department's fees into one place. And so you'll see that it includes everything that is considered a fee. So that would exclude our street maintenance assessment, things like that. And any other fee that would be allowed by either state law, city code, or federal statutes. There are a couple of updated items in the packet for you. As we discussed at the meeting, one of them would be our sign replacements. So you'll see those were changed to the actual cost. We had sort of an average number in there before. So now it'll just happen that if we have to do a sign replacement from an accident or something like that, we'll do them at whatever the actual cost comes out to be. The other things that we don't, one other thing that's included on the parking side are the pay to park rates. That schedule is a little complicated to put into a table. So I did attach the flyer for you that kind of explains our pay to park fees. The things that you'll notice maybe are not changed from our meeting
One would be the capital transit rates. And I know that we had discussed providing you a table, but as I started to put that table together, it got a little convoluted. So I thought it would be easier just to give you a simple explanation as to the effect. So we talked about 50-cent increments and what that would do to the revenue at those different increments. And so ultimately, our expected annual ridership for capital transit is around 50,000 rides a year. So every 50-cent increment would essentially equate to a gross revenue of about $25,000. When you take into account some of the discounts that we offer for buying multiple ride passes and things like that, and then you take into account the transaction fees that we have with our online service, it really comes out to be about, my estimate's around $15,000 in net revenue for every 50-cent increment that we will either go up or go down from the suggested rate. So I hope that makes it easy math for you to discuss and have a decision for on that. The other one you'll notice that's not changed is the parklet fee. So I guess the guidance that was sort of given to us was ultimately to give our best option of what we thought was the most affordable for the city to provide. And in talking with city manager and Director Kanopke, that really was our best option as far as the lost revenue that it doesn't let us generate by offering that service. And so obviously all of these rates are up for commission's approval, disapproval, discussion. And so we're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And Mr. Cooey, a question on the parklet fee. I note that a monthly parking fee or permit, if I'm reading correctly, is $60 a month. So if you have a parklet that's 3 spaces, that would be 60 times 3 per month, which over the season would still be less than 2,500. So can you help me understand the calculation for the parklet fee and why it's not tied to the same as the monthly fee for a space?
Sure. So Mayor and Commissioner Reed, the difference between those monthly permits and where the parklets exist is that those permits are more for the actual parking lots and parking garages. And the parklets exist in the pay to park, which is a constant turnover area. So if you have a permit, you have a designated one space in that particular lot, and we have so many permits that we could sell.
Mr. Mayor, if I might, just a quick follow-up. So just to help me understand again, what calculation did we use to come up with the 2,500? I know you mentioned it at the admin meeting, but can you remind me what our basis was for coming up with that number?
I'll let Director Kanopke answer that one.
Yeah. Calling a friend.
Phone a friend. Mayor and Commissioners, so in the beginning, we looked at these fees and really what makes these fees go up or down is, as in your example, is some of these areas of the parklet supply are an angled parking, which takes up a larger square footage and more parking spaces. So in your example, if we did 5, the cost comes out to about $2,200. So in this, we used our current pay to park rates. We used the parking study that set those, uses 85% of those spaces will be occupied at any one time. So we reduced it by 85 cents. And then when we looked at that's what gave us our original numbers. So when we went back and looked at trying to, as the economic drivers and other benefits that we are seeing by these parklets, there wasn't a specific rhyme or reason why we came out to 2,500. But when we did our research of what other communities are doing per space or for the parklet, we fell right into the about average with that 2,500 number. That's why we chose that number instead of trying to tie it directly back to the cost per space.
So may I ask a question, Director Kanopki? So if you were to tie it back directly to, would it be more or less?
If we tied it directly back, it would be more
Okay,
on for the angled parking spaces.
thank you. Any other comments from the commission?
Mr. Mayor, I think just on that point, I think it would be supportive of where we got to this. I understand that it is a significant amount for a lot of businesses that are trying to pursue the parklet, and there is a lot of investment that has to go into developing the infrastructure. But I also know that we have to cover our costs to maintain parking and turning that over. But what I'd be interested in is if we can maybe have status updates as to where we think and working with those who do have the parklet permits, if it's working or not working, if other communities are finding that it is prohibitive too, just so that we can keep tabs on if we're able to drop the price, great. But I also understand that we are in a situation that we have to bring in revenue to cover the costs of a department and the expenses that come along with running a parking division. So if we could just maybe keep tabs on where we are in 6 months or a year, reevaluate, maybe before the next summer, actually reevaluate what this looks like and if we can make any adjustments.
Mayor and Commissioners, we'd be happy to give you updates. One of the options that we were considering is expanding the time frame, knowing that our winters don't start and stop when it says it's winter and it's springtime. Sometimes we have an early spring or a late fall that allows some extra time. So it would just, there's already the requirement for the parklets to be able to be basically taken down within a 24-hour period. So we could look at expanding those timeframes to make it allow those parklets up for a longer period of time. Because they are so close to the travel lanes, though, we wouldn't be able to probably go through the winter. We might try that as a pilot program, but with the snow being plowed up against them, there might be some issues there.
Thank
Longer
you.
season, I think, would be great.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Not a question, just a comment. I really appreciate the work that went into this, and I appreciate your explanation. I did, however, we received an email from a business owner who described the costs associated with the parklet. And while I understand the lost revenue for parking, I think the amount of money expended by businesses for the permitting and the fees and everything else, they are contributing revenue to the city in other ways that are not just parking. So I can't support the $2,500 fee. I think it is important that we show our businesses that their investment is, well received by the city and has a lot of benefit. And I do think, again, I have heard anecdotally a number of businesses that wanted to do this and cannot due to the cost, not just of the parking, but of the whole package. So I think for this season, I appreciate we brought it down. I think that's great, but I would really, it would be my strong preference going forward that we either tie it to monthly parking costs or, ideally waive it altogether, because I really think the benefit to our city is much higher than the lost revenue for parking. Thanks.
Thank you. Do we have any other comments? Do we have any public comments?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners.
Good evening.
I'm Jordan Conley. I'm the Operations Director for Downtown Helena. I'm here to speak on behalf of the businesses, but also I am here because part of my job is to promote the vibrancy and vitality of the entire downtown area. I also appreciate that the fees have gone down significantly and the work that has gone into this. However, I do want to note that the benefits of parklets, as Commissioner Reed has noted, are numerous and very well documented. There are a range of strategies that communities are taking here, from paying businesses to erect parklets to charging the fees. So there might be an average here, but there are lots of options available to us based on what comparative communities are doing. I want to note that promote the pedestrianization of downtown. So they encourage people to walk. They promote the beautification of downtown, and that's often on behalf of the business owners. So the businesses are the ones paying to erect these structures, maintain them, put flowers on them, all of that. And that's something that's making the downtown look more cared for and beautiful. They have an economic impact on both the businesses to which they are attached as well as surrounding businesses. Plus, they have the effect of making downtown look as busy as it is, right? So if you're driving through downtown and you see people sitting outside, you realize how busy and vibrant downtown is. Whereas if you're driving through and all of those people are inside, you're not necessarily seeing it. And as you know, people are attracted to other people. And since we have such a short outdoor season here, it's really beneficial to have those people sitting outside of the businesses and attracting more visitors and people. I will note that they are also very expensive to put up, to store, to maintain year after year, and that by being a temporary structure that goes up and then comes down, they're actually helping preserve those parking spots through the winter. Whereas a business that maybe puts up a permanent structure would be fully eliminating some parking spots, right? And so we should think about the benefit that they're adding by being a temporary structure. And then finally, I would just note that the current parking system was arrived at so that parking would better serve the community. And I think we should really keep that mission in mind, right? Does having parklets really take away from, you know, the need for these parking spots? I understand the financial aspect of it, but I agree with Commissioner Reed, and the businesses downtown do as well, that this adds a lot economically, socially, in terms of the beautification of downtown, and those factors should be considered as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments?
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners.
Good evening.
I'm Sarah Hamblock with the Western and the Gold Bar. And I'd like to start by saying that we really appreciate that the City of Helena has been promoting the parklet program, and the City of Helena allowed us to build a parklet on the south side of our building on Lawrence Avenue. It's been attracting tourists all summer and just gives folks another outlet, somewhere to sit outside in our beautiful downtown. I wanted to give a few more details regarding the investment of a parklet for our downtown. When we originally were interested in building the parklet, we thought it would be a smaller scale, something that could be more handmade out of pallets with, you know, cute benches. And then as we got through the process, looking at all the specifications, we realized it would have to be a much more sturdy structure. And between the architecture costs, the fabrication, it came out to be about $46,000 for a structure that we only can use for 6 months, maybe. And we're very happy that we got to make that investment for downtown. I think it does add a lot of value. Ongoing fees for our parklet every year, we're expecting about $4,000 between flowers, maintenance, parking fees at their current level. So I am speaking tonight to request that the fee either be lowered, or that it, rather than, it did seem arbitrary at the beginning, after that explanation, it does make more sense. However, our parklet takes up 1 spot, Blackfoot River Brewing Companies takes up 4 spots, and we're being charged the same amount. So if we could come up with an equitable fee for both of us, and we can pay the same, that's fine. But I did want to note that based on David Konopke's equation, the parking fee for our 1 spot that our parklet takes up would be about $1,500 for the whole season. And instead we're paying $2,500 for that spot. And it is just like not affordable for the investment that we've made for downtown. Yeah, thank you for letting me speak. Appreciate it.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Did you say 1 spot?
Yes.
1 parking spot
1 parking spot.
for the Gold Bar?
So we are on parallel parking, and because we're on a corner, there's like 4 feet that were unusable because of a storm drain. So it does end up just taking up 1 parking spot.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Director Konopke.
Yes, Mayor.
Is the gold bar on one spot?
I will have to double check that. The original parklet requirements required a 2-spot just because of typically for the space that a parklet is needed. So I'd have to double check that if they're only sitting on one spot.
Okay. Thank you. Do we have any other public comments? Madam Clerk, do we have any online?
Mr. Mayor, I have no public comment online.
I'm a little troubled just because I don't see the equity. If they're on one spot and they're charging 2,500 and the other people on 4 spots charging 2,500, I'm a little confused by that. So I want to recommend tabling this item until we can get some answers as to.
Mr. Mayor, would it be possible to consider moving the resolution of attention, removing the parklet fee so that we can get everything else passed?
Yeah.
And hold that?
Yeah, that's.
I'd
thank
be
you.
happy to
That's
make
what
that
I meant.
motion. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, go ahead, Manager Burton.
Mayor, one other option for consideration by the commission is that this is a resolution of intention and it will be coming back for your consideration at a future date.
Okay, and that could also bring the clarification we're looking for. Okay, thank you. So do we have any other public comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead, Commissioner.
just to clarify, I don't need to mention the parklet fee being reconsidered at this time. Okay. Mr. Mayor, I move to approve a resolution of intention to set fees charged by the Helena Transportation System and set a public hearing for August 7th, 2023.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion from the commission? Madam
Mr.
Clerk.
Mayor, oh, sorry, just, I would just add that, and as we are reconsidering the 1 space versus 4, it is parallel versus angled. There it is. So I think just because someone is located on a site that has parallel versus angled, I'm not sure it should, that's not necessarily their fault. So when we are reconsidering the fees, I'd like to see if we can come up with a solution that works for everybody and isn't dependent upon what parking happens to be outside their building. Thanks.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
I also too, I'm also like to talk more about, or at least reconsider the capital transit fee that went from 80 cents up to $3 a ride. I think that's something I think we need to take a look at as well. I think that's a 275% increase. I think as we move forward, I'd like to look at the numbers and the options for pricing on rides for individuals who ride on capital transit. I think it's a pretty significant increase. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, just really briefly, and I think Chris Cooey or David Konopke knows the answer. When was the last time we increased the rider fees? I know that we have to go to $1 because the state reporting system only reports on the dollar, but I can't recall.
Sure. So Mayor and Commissioners, the last time the transit fee was increased was somewhere in the 90s. And yes, you're correct about the dollar. Our state reporting doesn't recognize below $1.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So that's about minimum of 20 years. Okay. Any final comments from the commission? It's been, was it moved and seconded? It's been moved and seconded, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Dean.
Aye.
Commissioner Logan.
Aye.
Commissioner Reed.
Aye.
Commissioner Shertliff.
Aye.
Mayor Collins.
Aye.
The motion carries 5-0.
Consider a resolution of intention to specify the let me make sure that's where we are. Okay. Consider a resolution of intention to specify the assessment option for the collection and disposal of residential garbage and refuge for fiscal year 2024 and levy and assess all properties receiving residential solid waste collection. Director Danielson, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. So before you have the resolution of intention to set the rate for the residential solid waste assessment, This particular assessment comes before the commission every year and must be set by August 30th of every year in order to get the information to the county and then onto their property tax assessments. This assessment covers the residential solid waste management system, which composes of the costly weekly waste collection that the city does, disposal costs for tipping fees at the Lewis and Clark County landfill, recycling facilities, including the satellite collection sites. It subsidizes the curbside recycling program and allows also for the citizens to bring 3,000 pounds of self-haul to the transfer station. The assessment is being proposed to go up $18 annually. In your packet, you'll see that this particular assessment hasn't been increased for many years. And since before 2015, did it actually go up? The solid waste system is looking to have to buy new equipment. And so there is in the annual budget an intercap loan for approximately $1.5 million in order to purchase equipment. Over the years, since the recycling program has come, and also the management and inflation of regular maintenance to the program, as far as personal costs, supplies, equipment, et cetera, the cash has slowly been depleted out of the fund. The recycling program over the course of since 2016 has depleted cash reserves of about $658,000 for that subsidy program. Currently, the city pays $8.20 for the curbside recycling, and the customer pays $8. There's currently about 1,500 customers on the program. And due to the need for equipment purchases and the depletion of the cash flow, the Public Works Department is asking for the $18 increase in the annual fee for the residential solid waste program. And if you have any other questions about that, I'm here to answer them. And I believe also Director Leland, he's way in the back, is here to answer any questions as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Danielson. Comments or questions from the commission?
Mr. Mayor, I don't know if this question is for Director Danielson or Director Leland. Do you expect that we obviously are in the process of going through the solid waste master plan that will consider new rates and a new regime of how we, decide how residential solid waste works? Do we expect that the rates to be reconsidered next year based on that master plan, or in 2 fiscal years?
I'm going to have to defer to Director Leland to answer that question for you.
Mayor, Commissioner, we will reevaluate it based on our current system as it is right now next year, because we have to look at it every year, and we just want to see with the inflation, what we're doing with energy costs that are going up, fuel costs that are going up, and just see where we are. So we'll just look at our system it is right now, and then the master plan will be looking at least 2 years down the road. We'll just get the recommendations next year, so we won't be able to really implement anything to assess any of this stuff at this time. So we'll just be getting into the recommendations and finalizing that up by this time next year.
And then, Mr. Mayor, if I could my other question was, when we do the RFP for the contract, I guess, for the curbside recycling, what's the renewal timing on that?
Mayor, Commissioner, right now we have a 2-year extension because we just renewed it, and we were and one more city option, so we could do 3 years on it, and we just wanted to time it up with the master plan and the timing that it's going. It looks like it'll time up pretty well, so we will be able to reassess what we want to do for recycling. How are we going to handle it, and is it universal? Is it mandatory? Those options will come to light with the master plan. We'll be able to do it, and then either change or phase out the RFQ for the current curbside recycling.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments from the commission? Do you have any public comments? Madam Clerk, any online?
Mr. Mayor, I have no comment online.
I'll entertain a motion. Tired?
Mr. Mayor, I will move to approve a resolution of intention to specify the assessment option for the collection and disposal of residential garbage and refuse for fiscal year 2024 and levy and assess all properties receiving residential solid waste collection and set a public hearing date for August 21st, 2023.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Madam Clerk?
Excuse me, Commissioner Dean,
Aye.
Commissioner Logan,
Aye.
Commissioner Reed,
Aye.
Commissioner Shertliff,
Aye.
Mayor Collins.
Aye.
The motion carries 5-0.
Consider a resolution of intention to levy and assess properties to recover the amortized loan issues under the Residential Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy Loan Program for the tax year 2023. Director Danielson.
Thank you, Mayor and Commission. This resolution of intention is for allowing us to set property tax assessments to recover the cost of loans taken out on behalf of the resident to the city for those that apply for and then also are able to move forward with most likely the solar panel programs, but it is for other energy efficient loans as well. But in the last year, we had 6 property owners that were able to obtain a loan from the city. These are 0% loans and they last for 10 years. We started the loan program in 2015 and currently right now the city has 38 outstanding loans and the outstanding loan balance is about $271,902. And so next year in our budget, we have about $72,000 that's set aside for folks to be able to apply for the loan program in this next year. And I think that it's already been queued up and they've received several applications. So it's a very popular program. And with that I can answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you. Comments or questions from the commission? Do we have any public comments? Any online, Madam Clerk?
Mr. Mayor, I have no comment online.
I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I will.
Go ahead, Commissioners.
Taking this one. Move to approve a resolution of intention to levy and assess properties to recover the amortized loans issued under the Residential Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy Loan Program for the tax year 2023 and to set a public hearing for August 21, 2023.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Dean,
Aye.
Commissioner Logan,
Aye.
Commissioner Reed,
Aye.
Commissioner Shertliff.
Aye.
Mayor Collins.
Aye.
The motion carries 5-0.
Consider a resolution of intention to levy and assess properties to recover the cost of reimbursement for water and wastewater infrastructure installed by the city for tax year 2023. Director Danielson, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor and Commission. This resolution a resolution of intention before you is for the infrastructure cost reimbursement program. We currently have 9 loans outstanding. The last loan that we did issue under this particular program was in September of 2020. We currently have $115,000 of outstanding loans for this program. And right now there are 9 individual tax parcels that are currently paying the city through their annual property tax assessments. And these were 0% loans for 20 years. I'm happy to answer any questions on this if you have any.
Comments or questions from the commission? Do we have any public comments? Madam Clerk, any online?
I do not have any online, Mr. Mayor.
I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I will move to approve a resolution of intention to levy and assess properties to recover the cost of reimbursement for water and wastewater infrastructure installed by the city for tax year 2023 and set a public hearing date for August 21st, 2023.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Dean,
Aye.
Commissioner Logan, Commissioner Reed,
Aye.
Commissioner Shertliff,
Aye.
Mayor Collins.
Aye.
The motion carries 5-0.
Consider a resolution of intention to specify the assessment option for the landfill monitoring and maintenance district for fiscal year 2024 and levy and assess all properties within the district. Director Danielson?
And thank you, Mayor and Commission. This is our landfill district assessment. This is for preserving and maintaining the district to prevent groundwater contamination in the city. It's also necessary to raise this assessment so that we can comply with state and federal statutes for groundwater contamination mitigation. Currently, the budget for this is right around $140,000 a year. And so we set the rate just according to recovering the cost of operating the district. For residential properties, that's $7.23. And for commercial properties, it's a varying amount, but for less than 10,000 square feet, they pay $18.08. From 10,001 to 50,000 square feet, they pay $42.40. From 50,001 to 100,000 square feet, commercial properties pay $72.34. From 100,001 to 250,000 square feet, they pay $108.50. And for those commercial properties more than 250,000 square feet, they pay an assessment of $150.70. At this time, the city is not proposing any rate increases to this assessment. I will note that this particular district is coming up for renewal as well. And the commission will be receiving more information about that renewal as we come forward here in the next month.
Thank you. Comments or questions from the commission? Do you have any public comments? Madam Clerk,
I have no public comment on mine.
I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead, Commissioner.
I move to approve a resolution of intention to specify the assessment option for the landfill monitoring and maintenance district for fiscal year 2024 and levy and assess all property within the district and to set a public hearing date.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Dean.
Aye.
Commissioner Logan.
Aye.
Commissioner Reed.
Aye.
Commissioner Shertliff.
Aye.
Mayor Collins.
Aye.
The motion carries 5-0.
Consider a resolution of intention to specify the assessment option for the open space maintenance district for fiscal year 2024 and levy and assess all properties within the district. Dr. Danielson.
And thank you, Mayor and Commission. This assessment is for our open space maintenance district. This particular district employs an open lands manager, assistant land manager, a maintenance worker, and several temp staff to maintain our many acres of open space and open lands, including Mount Helena. They do operate off of a lot of grant funding as well. The assessment is set just to try to recover the costs of the program. Currently, the base rate for those that are in those that are assessed the district is $20. And in addition, for properties over 2,222 square feet of impervious area, they also pay a 0.00801 cents per square feet. There is no recommendation to increase the fee this year. And I believe that Director Smith is online. If you have any questions about any of the accomplishments or information that this district has for maintenance, he's online to answer those questions.
Thank you. Comments from the commission? Public comments? Madam Clerk,
Mr. Mayor, I have no comment on mine.
I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I will move to approve a resolution of intention to specify the assessment option for the open space maintenance district number 1 for fiscal year 2024 and to levy and assess all properties within the district and to set a public hearing date.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Dean.
Aye.
Commissioner Logan.
Aye.
Commissioner Reed.
Aye.
Commissioner Shertliff.
Aye.
Mayor Collins.
Aye.
The motion carries 5-0.
Consider a resolution of intentions to levy and assess properties to recover the cost of removal of snow and ice from sidewalk on the adjacent public right of way and to set a public hearing date. You have the floor, Director Danielson.
And thank you, Mayor and Commission. So this cost recovery assessment goes on individuals' tax bills. If they've had snow or ice requests to have been removed from their property. It's a base $50 fine plus the cost of removal. Property owners are given notice at the time of that, and they have the option to pay and not have it on their tax bill. These particular parcels, there are 8 parcels. There were 12 times. There was one parcel that had several incidents where we had to go out and remove snow and ice from their particular tax parcel for a total cost recovery on tax bills of $1,576.04. This fee was established by ordinance number 3210 back in June of 2015. And at the end of the fiscal year, if we haven't recovered any of the costs, the Transportation System Department gives me a list of those that they had invoiced and the cost of what it costs to remove the snow and ice so that we can bring it before the commission and recover the cost on their tax bill. Thank you.
Comments or questions from the commission? Any public comments? Any online, madam?
I have no public comment online.
I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead, Commissioner.
I move to approve a resolution of intention to levy and assess properties to recover the cost of removal of snow and ice from sidewalks on the adjacent public rights of way and to set a public hearing date.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Dean.
Aye.
Commissioner Logan.
Aye.
Commissioner Reed.
Aye.
Commissioner Shertliff.
Aye.
Mayor Collins.
Aye.
The motion carries 5-0.
Consider a resolution of intention to specify the assessment option for the storm water utility service area for fiscal year 2024 and levy and assess all properties within the district. You have the floor, Director Daniels.
Thank you, Mayor and Commission. This is our annual stormwater assessment. We bring it before the commission every year to set the rate. The rate is always based off the cost recovery of the stormwater program. It's for maintenance and capital improvements of stormwater in the city. For fiscal year 2024, we're not recommending any rate increases for stormwater. Currently, our residential property has a base rate of $46.16. And then they also pay an additional fee if it's over 2,222 square feet of 0.02524 cents per square foot. Commercial properties are have a base fee of $71.81. And for those commercial properties over 2,222 square feet, they also pay an additional assessment of 0.03296 cents per square foot. And that is I have, unless you have any questions.
Thank you. Comments or questions from the commission? Public comments? Any online?
I have no public comment online.
I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead, Commissioner.
I move to approve a resolution of intention to specify the assessment option for the stormwater utility service area for fiscal year 2024 and levy and assess all property within the service and to set a public hearing date for August 21, 2023.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Dean.
Aye.
Commissioner Logan.
Aye.
Commissioner Reed.
Aye.
Commissioner Shertliff.
Aye.
Mayor Collins.
Aye.
The motion carries 5-0.
Consider a resolution of intention to levy assessments for improvement of sidewalks, curb, gutters, and alley approachings in the city of Helena, Montana for tax year 2023. Director Danielson, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor and Commission. This is our annual assessment to assess owners that enter into an agreement with the city for sidewalk replacement and or maintenance of their sidewalk. In the last program year, we entered into 14 new agreements with folks. The program is usually set over the last few years of about $150,000. And then it's a annual first come, first serve in order to get into the program. It's a very popular program. It fills up fairly quickly. This last construction year, we had 14 new agreements. It's a 0% loan for 10 years. The total outstanding sidewalk loans that we currently have is close to about $500,000 for this particular program. And these are set to go on their tax bill over the course of 10 years to reimburse the city for the cost of the program.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Comments or questions from the commission? Public comments? Madam Clerk,
I have none online.
I entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead, Commissioner.
move to approve a resolution of intention to levy assessments for improvement of sidewalks, curbs, gutters, and alley approaches in the city of Helena, Montana for the tax year 2023 and to set a public hearing date.
Second.
Move and seconded. Any final discussion? Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Dean,
Aye.
Commissioner Logan,
Aye.
Commissioner Reed,
Aye.
Commissioner Shertliff,
Aye.
Mayor Collins.
Aye.
The motion carries 5-0.
Consider a resolution of intention to specify the assessment option for the special street lighting district for fiscal year 2024. And levy and assess all properties within the district. You have the floor, Director Danielson.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. This is our annual assessment option for the street lighting districts within the city of Helena. We have 54 lighting districts within the city of Helena. Each lighting district is a self-balancing set of accounts. And so annually, we do a calculation to establish to make sure that they have enough of a cash reserve to pay for maintenance and to carry them into the next fiscal year before we receive our assessments, because we only receive it typically only twice a year. It trickles in a little bit in between, but the twice a year tax payments is when we receive that. So we do maintain about a 50% cash reserve of the cost of paying for the districts. All of the lighting districts in total generate a little bit, right around $913,000 for the city. And that's about what it costs us to pay the electricity bills and maintenance costs, and then some overhead fees that are charged against the district as well. When in looking at it, it depends on the particular district because some have many lights, some have not so many lights, but on average, I looked at the increase of the assessment. It's about on average across 54 districts, about a 5% increase to the homeowners. And that's all I have at this time.
Comments or questions from the commission?
Mr. Mayor, question.
Go ahead.
Director Danielson, in front of our house, we have an LED. I think it's an LED light. What is the cost savings of having an LED light versus the typical standard traditional street light? If you don't know, that's fine. I was just curious.
Mayor and Commissioner Shertliff, I don't have that information. I can reach out to Northwestern Energy to ask them what the difference in the cost savings of LED. I know that when they started replacing streetlights with LED, they were advocating that the cost of electricity would go down. I'm only looking at the actual bills that I received, and they've increased from the prior year. So even if it's in an LED district or not, it could be an impact. I could take a little bit deeper dive into that and see which of the districts are not quite all upfitted with LED versus those that are, and if that makes a difference. But I can certainly reach out to Northwestern Energy and get that information for you.
Thank you, Director. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Any other comments from the commission? Any public comments? Madam Clerk,
Mr. Mayor, I have no public comment online.
I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'll move to approve a resolution of intention to specify the assessment option for the special street lighting districts for fiscal year 2024 and levy and assess all properties within the districts and set a public hearing date.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Dean,
Aye.
Commissioner Logan,
Aye.
Commissioner Reed,
Aye.
Commissioner Shertliff,
Aye.
Mayor Collins.
Aye.
The motion carries 5-0.
Consider a resolution of intention to specify the assessment option for the street maintenance improvement district number 1 for fiscal year 2024 and levy the assess all property within the district. You have the floor, Director Danielson.
And thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. This is our, again, our annual assessment for our street maintenance district. This pays for the maintenance and capital improvements of streets throughout the city. There is no proposed increase to the rate for street assessments this year. A vacant or a residential lot pays $206.16 annually. Mobile homes pay $82.46 annually. A commercial property with less than 6,000 square feet pays $360 annually. And commercial properties with 6,000 square feet or more, they pay 6 cents per square foot for a maximum assessment of $60,000. And I know that Director Konopka is present if you have any other questions about street maintenance. Thank you.
Comments or questions from the commission? Do we have any public comments?
I have no public comment online.
I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve a resolution of intention to specify the assessment option for the Street Maintenance and Improvements District Number 1 for the fiscal year 2024 and levy and assess all property within the district and to set a public hearing date.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Dean,
Aye.
Commissioner Logan,
Aye.
Commissioner Reed,
Aye.
Commissioner Sherliff,
Aye.
Mayor Collins.
Aye.
The motion carries 5-0.
Public hearings. Consider a resolution approving the tax abatement application for Matthew Culpo and Christine Tennis for the property located at 3 Washington Place in the city of Helena, Montana. Director Danielson, you have the floor.
And thank you, Mayor and Commission. So at the Joint Commission meeting on July 11th, 2023, I presented the packet, an application for a tax abatement from Matt Culpo and Christine Tennis for property located at 3 Washington Place. They submitted an application to the city in late February. It qualifies for consideration of tax abatement under MCA 1524-1603 for the historic property tax abatement for new construction statute. The abatement application went to the Historic Preservation Office, and they reviewed it and had the applicant make a few changes, but then later recommended approval of the tax abatement application, and their board approved that on May 16th. The abatement is for the increase of taxable value above $250,000. And so it will be, the abatement would last for tax years 2023 through 2028. The Department of Revenue provides the calculation of what the abatement might be. And also it impacts it impacts the cities, the county, and also the school district. I did give notice to the Helena School District of the application packet for them to provide any public comment. I hadn't heard anything back from them. I know that the county is also planning for their public hearing, I think within the next week as well, for this tax abatement application. Total abated taxes over the 5 tax years, the Department of Revenue indicated that would be an abatement of $3,005 to the city. Should the commission decide to move forward with approval of the tax abatement application. It's for a duplex that'll be located on it's like 2 parcels on one area, and it's at 3 Washington Place. So it's a duplex that they're building, and then they're removing an old garage that was located in the area, and it was reviewed by the Historic Preservation Office, and it met the historic nature of the district, and so they approved it, and it's now before you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Comments or questions from the commission? Do we have any public comments? Madam Clerk.
Mr. Mayor, I have no public comment online.
I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead, Commissioner.
move to approve a resolution approving the tax abatement application of Matthew Culpo and Christine Tennis for the property located at 3 Washington Place in the city of Helena, Montana.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I'll just really briefly, I'm going to be a no on this, not because I don't think this is a good project, but the point of tax abatements are really economic development tools, and tax abatements are some of the least effective of the economic development tools. I rarely support them, and on those grounds, I won't be supporting this tonight, but I think this is a great project if it can be geared towards affordable housing We do have the Affordable Housing Trust Fund with funds available, and I think that would be a more appropriate route rather than a tax abatement. So wanted to give my reasoning for a no.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Dean,
No.
Commissioner Logan,
Aye.
Commissioner Reed,
Aye.
Commissioner Shertliff,
Aye.
Mayor Collins.
Aye.
The motion carries 4-1.
Thank you. Consider, we've done that. So consider a request for demolition permit to allow demolition of a contributing property located in the historic Helena Historic District in R3 zoning district for a building located at 39 South Rodney, legally described as the north 10 of Lot 20 and Lot 21 and 22 and 73, Block 29, Helena Town Site, 1869, to the City of Helena, Lewis and Clark County, Montana. Oh, okay. We have the Historic Preservation Officer, Pam Tarter. You have the floor. Good evening. Is that on, ma'am?
No, it is.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I'm the Heritage Tourism Council staff. My name is Pam Tardo, and I am the Heritage Preservation Officer for the city and county. I'm going to give a PowerPoint, so I'll just step over here. The house in question is located at 39 South Rodney. It was built in 1872 by Joshua and Martha Ricker, and it is a contributing property to the Helena Historic District, and the portion is the South Central District. Like I said, it's a contributing structure to the National Register listed Helena Historic District. It was listed on the National Register in 1993 as an addendum to the 1972 Downtown West Side Historic District. And the property is therefore subject to Helena Demolition Review Ordinance. This is the home in question. It was a single family house when it was first built. These are a couple of elevations, the west front and then the south elevation. There were some later additions that appeared. This is the north elevation, and this is the rear on the bottom. The applicant has agreed to salvage some of the historic materials that are located within the house, although the exterior of the house has suffered from, I guess, neglect for many, many years. And the interior was at one time a pretty decent house. These are some of the doors and windows in the house. And these are examples of things that could be salvaged. A local nonprofit has offered to remove these items prior to demolition. Historical significance of the house. This is Joshua Ricker. He owned the IXL mine, which was located between Park City and Unionville. In 1867, he built a 20 stamp mill to treat ore from the Willech Union mine, and he became quite wealthy. In 1872, he and his wife Martha built 39 South Rodney. Here's a couple of what are called sandbar maps. They're fire insurance maps. You can see on the left, the house started off actually quite small and then about doubled in size by 1888. And then hence that explains all those additions that you saw in the photographs. This is located in the South Central neighborhood. And this is just taking a look at what the neighborhood looks like surrounding 39 South Rodney. So starting at this northeast corner of, you're looking northeast along South Rodney, this would be the southeast corner of Broadway and South Rodney. And you can see that there are duplexes. There's on the left-hand side, there's a French Second Empire home, and then there are a string of duplexes that lead up to the house in question. This is looking northeast along South Rodney. As you see, there are apartments, the May Butler Center, which was formerly Emerson School, All these buildings are contributing to the historic district. This is looking south along the west side of South Rodney. There are some quite older houses here, the oldest one being the Rosenbaum apartment, a house which is now an apartment. It was built in 1865, so just a year after the discovery of gold. This is the property directly across South Rodney. This was the site of the Walker Reinig house. It was built in 1884 and demolished in 1989. This is just some shots of what the house looked like prior to demolition. I just wanted to go over the fact that I took a look at the number of demolitions and non-contributing properties that have racked up over the past several years. You'll see that there have been 7 demolitions. You can see that circle. I'm sorry, I don't have a pointer here. You can see the circle, a red circle where the 39 South Rodney is located, and you just see that there have been quite a number of demolitions or changes to buildings that have rendered them what's called non-contributing. So they are no longer listed with the National Register. Just to give pause about the impacts of demolition and drastic changes to the neighborhood. They can alter the appearance of the historic neighborhood, and this includes buildings that replace historic structures that are demolished, and this can chip away at the historic district's integrity and viability, as well as benefits that the districts can confer to owners of historic properties, like Mr. Culpo, who applied for a tax abatement for 3 Washington Place. The cost of rehabilitation versus new construction. These are costs provided by the applicant, and you can see it was $1,185,587.47 less to rehabilitate the existing building compared to construction for 4 dwelling units. On the left, you see the originally proposed site plan. It was a single building with 4 units lined up. They went on a west to east axis. This is the revised site plan on the right side. Again, you'll see the Rodney Street side, and they're a little bit more in keeping with the duplexes that I showed you in that earlier, the historic duplexes that I showed you in that earlier slide. So this was the original proposed single building, the front entrance and other elevations. Those are the garages in the rear. And these are the proposed duplexes here. I am, as a historic preservation officer, I would advise that this be revised further, and the Heritage Tourism Council did have some requests. We cannot impose conditions on people because that's not allowed by the ordinance, but members did request the applicant continue to work with the HBO to further refine the revised plan to comply with the design guidelines that we have for Helena's historic neighborhoods. So the HTC held a public hearing on June 30th for the proposed historic demolition permit for 39 South Rodney. 13 people spoke in favor of the proposal, included the applicant, with 8 people in person and 4 people via Zoom. Identified issues included safety with the existing vacant structure that wasn't maintained in the community need for housing. Applicant Seth O'Connell clarified the property contains 10,600 square feet. They were now looking to build 2 duplexes instead of that single building that I showed you earlier. And they amended the plan to create 2, they may amend the plan to create 2 lots. The members discussed the appearance of the building, the proposed new single structure compared to constructing duplexes similar in appearance to others. They were unclear as to what the new proposed construction would be, and they wanted assurance that the new construction would fit in the neighborhood and the historic district. And the applicant agreed to revise the proposed drawings in accordance with the HTC's discussion. The HTC continued the public hearing to June 29th, 2023. And then that hearing, the applicant said he would agree to salvage historic parts. Let's see. Then he also changed it to be 2 duplexes instead of 1. And then the HTC discussed the upstairs windows, the transoms, the doors, and the balconies on the west side of the proposed duplexes, and said they wanted to protect the historic neighborhood in the district by revising those elements on the front of the building. It was my opinion that the transoms disrupted the building's rhythm in the neighborhoods and made the design busy, especially with the downstairs porches and balconies. This case is an example of trying to reconcile 2 community goals, historic preservation and housing, which can be accomplished together. However, the applicant has still not provided documentation regarding the building's structural integrity, which makes it difficult for the HPO to recommend approval for the historic demolition permit. The original proposed design was not compatible with the design guidelines. The revised design is more compatible, but has not quite yet reached what I would consider to be a compatible design. Like I said, the original proposed design did not preserve, protect, and historical and archaeological heritage of Helena. This is language from the ordinance. While the revised proposed design with 2 duplexes is better, but still needs some improvement to be consistent with this section. And thank you very much. Can I answer any questions?
Thank you. Comments or questions from the commission?
Mr. Mayor, I have a couple questions. Thank you, Ms. Attardo, for your presentation. I guess my first question is, since there isn't the engineering report, I mean, I'm curious because it feels like this might be almost a demolition through neglect, which is not necessarily the purpose of this ordinance. And so I guess I struggle with, what ability do we have, and this also might be a question for the city attorney, what ability do we have to ensure that we are living up to the ordinance and not having demolitions just because the properties have been neglected for years and years, while also ensuring that we're complying with the design standards so we don't put our historic district designation at risk.
Well, one of the things that is troublesome in this situation is that our ordinance has a number of flaws and vagueness that makes it very hard for me and the Heritage Tourism Council to protect historic districts. There is no demolition by neglect provision in the ordinance. It also does not require that a plan be produced, and yet it asks a question that makes it impossible for one to answer unless you have a plan. So there are many parts to this ordinance that really, really need to be overhauled and almost entirely rewritten.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the commission? Do you have any public comments? Please come up. Thank you, Officer Attardo.
Thank you.
Mayor, Commissioners, my name is Seth O'Connell. I am the applicant. We tried to work with them as closely as we possibly could as far as finding middle ground between what the ordinance does say. And so a little background, I wasn't aware that it was a contributing property. I now realize why nothing happened with it for a decade. People are kind of steering clear of it, but I live right next door to the house. So I feel like the integrity of the neighborhood is very important to me. I've lived next door to it for about 10 years. We did have to go through some renderings. Since then, we've continued to work with it. Now that the council did approve the demolition, we did go meet with Mosaic. We're going to continue to do that. The transom windows were the biggest thing. And then the coloring, making sure the 2 buildings were different color just to kind of keep that duplex. We did try to design the buildings with the same footprint as all the surrounding duplexes nearby. We're donating the garage. We're going to try to donate as much of the historical, the doors and the hinges and the doorknobs and stuff as that we possibly can. But at the same time, we were trying to, talk with potential buyers. We're looking to build townhouses. I might want to live in one of those. And we were looking at, what do people want? Because we're not asking for tax abatements. We're not trying to do a historical rebuild. So we tried to find middle ground where, hey, these fit within the historical neighborhood, but it's also not me that let the property dilapidate. I've owned the property since November. So we've tried our best to work with it. And I think this design works well. As far as the transom windows, it's been difficult because of the height of the building, with it being 2 stories, to have that much height. The more we looked at the designs, it's like it looks naked almost on the top of the facade when you don't have any other windows. So we did bring them down a little bit, and we've made a couple other changes and continue to do that, working with the city's various departments, which have been very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Mr. O'Connell.
Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. O'Connell, just a question, and I believe you alluded to it, but there was a slide that showed the cost of rehabilitation versus the cost of demolition. Can you explain why you chose demolition versus the seemingly less expensive rehabilitation?
Yeah, so we're looking at 4 units rather. So when you look at it actually on a unit basis, it is cheaper to do it. The builder, the contractor that I've hired, actually that's what he does, is typically remodels more than new builds. He actually just finished one right up here on the corner of Howie, 4 North Howie. He's working on another one on Butte Avenue. So when I brought him in, he was like, what are we trying to do here? This project's gone very, very far beyond a typical remodel, a rehab, especially with the various additions that have been added on to it and some of the other materials. So then we looked at the next product. And again, I wasn't even aware of any of that. I was watching what was going on with the Hedges building. I was like, wow, I'm glad I'm not a historical property. And then people were like, no, you are. And I was like, so yeah, we did originally look at it as a remodel.
Thank you. Do we have any other public comments?
Good evening, Mayor, members of the commission. My name is Chris Averill. I'm the chair of the Heritage Tourism Council. Want to thank Officer Retardo for speaking to the property. And I also want to thank the applicant for working with us diligently to make the changes that we thought would best fit the historic district based on the expertise of the board members and the advice of the city staff. Just a quick history here. I was before you last in the fall regarding the Hedges house. I believe we had a different situation there. So I do want to speak to the reason that we recommended approval of the demolition permit. And that specifically is some of the public input that we received at the hearing and via email leading up to and following the hearing. It was very different than the Hedges house. The Hedges house was universally opposed to demolition, save a voice or two. And this was universal support because of the eyesore that this property has become, combined with the effort of the applicant to do something in a short time that he's owned the property. I'd also suggest that we held the hearing, I believe, on the 20th. We could not find a resolution there, so we had a continuation of the public hearing till the week after. I think both sides agreed we didn't want to be a delay here. We would not want to burden the applicant further. And so we quickly had them made some revisions to the design that they proposed. We reviewed it the next week at a continuation of the public hearing. That's when we offered our approval with a subsequent motion from members of the council asking them to work with city staff to continue to refine that to meet the historic guidelines for the district. We're not quite there, but I believe that I know that your task is to approve or deny. There's no conditional approval or conditional denial. I believe that it's in the best interest of the city to approve and request them to continue to work with city staff as they indicated they would to make additional changes that fully fit the historic guidelines. And I'd just like to note, just this year, the State Historic Preservation Office was able to release a new 5-year preservation plan. couple of the items in there are two of the issues that were identified by the public. One of them is lack of public awareness and understanding. And I think we heard that clearly from the applicant. That's something I believe that Officer Attardo referred to with revisions to the demolition ordinance. That's something that our council is looking at, working with city and county staff to make sure that we're able to produce a fairer, clearer demolition ordinance that really sets out expectations for all sides equally and makes revisions that makes Pam's job easier. And secondly, one of the issues that's raised in the preservation report is asking the question, what is important in Montana and what is worthy of our preservation? And I think that people are starting to become more active. We're starting to see more people at our council meetings, and we're an advisory board. So it's important to understand that we're only members of the public as well, but to have even more members of the public involved, I think, regardless of how frustrating this process can be, is a good thing. So I feel like we're moving in the right direction. We're getting somewhere with historic preservation in the city, and I appreciate the work you'll do tonight to continue that. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any other public comments on this topic? Okay, I entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
maybe for the city attorney or the clerk, just trying to find a motion unless one of my colleagues would happen to have the motion, the appropriate motion. Go ahead, Commissioner Reed, actually, you got it there.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Commissioner Logan. I will move approval of a demolition permit for contributing property located in the Helena Historic District in R3 zoning district for a building located at 39 South Rodney, legally described as the north 10 of lot 20 and lots 21 and 22 and 73, lot 29, Helena Town Site 1869 to the City of Helena, Lewis and Clark County, Montana, per Chapter 15, Title 3 of City Code, City of Helena, Lewis and Clark County, Montana.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Dean,
Aye.
Commissioner Logan,
Aye.
Commissioner Reed,
Aye.
Commissioner Shertliff,
Aye.
Mayor Collins.
Aye.
The motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. At this time, is there anyone from the public wishes to address the commission on anything? I'm afraid to say anything.
Hello. Me and my friend here, I'm Juno.
I'm Isaiah Stevenson.
We're here to try to convince you guys to get lights above.
Would you give your address, please?
Oh, yeah. My address is 415 Last Chance Gulch, Unit 32.
301 West Lawrence Street, apartment number 301.
Thank you.
All right. So we're here to try to convince you guys to basically get lights above the skate park. We're both very avid skaters in the Helena area. We're a big part of the skating community. And recently we've started realizing that we've had some issues with the skate park. It's perfect during the day. We love it. We have plenty of children and young adults that are finding a community in this tiny little skate park. And it's hardly anything, and we can make so much fun out of it. And that's what's so amazing about the skate park is we're able to really just create our own community and be happy with each other and have fun. And that's what it's all about. Getting lights above the skate park wouldn't only increase the amount of time we could all skate and have fun. We also have some very valid reasons and concerns as to why we should get lights at the skate park. Reason number one being is that lights would help people who work during the day to be able to skate later and access the park later. This would not only encourage our local people to be able to go and work harder because they're more encouraged to go and play hard so they can go and work hard. But this would also give us an opportunity to go and socialize with the people that have also been working all day and serving our town. Two is that lights will benefit local skaters. In the sense that we're going to become more active and our community can almost become upgraded. The skate park will appear updated and fresh. So if people see the park at night, there'd be so many more skaters encouraged to come visit Helena and come skate the lit park. This can lead to skate jams and skate, I guess, competitions in the local area and lead to a stronger skate community. Benefits Helena, economy-wise, local skate shops, we'd have business at the restaurants, even Airbnbs from out of town. Lights would keep crime and mischief at a lower level because patrolling officers around in the area would be able to see and protect our teenage and children population against drugs and fights. This has become a huge issue recently, especially in the past years, and it's only gotten worse. If we got lights, it would seriously help, and cops would be able to better help and like protect our kids instead of have these fights go down in a very lack of like a controlling environment, basically. And in the end, this would just benefit the town altogether and the children and the young adults, because in the end, we're all just trying to find community and we're trying to grow and have fun. And this would all make us healthier. It'd grow the skate community in Helena. The more, the merrier. It's not only for the passionate skaters. This is for fun childhoods and the better help our hard workers in Helena. Thank you.
Thank you.
What do you got, buddy?
Yeah. I think that putting lights at the skate park is going to be a huge benefit against the criminal activity that is kind of happening there most of the time. We have a great community that is always there with, like Juno said, the kids and the people that are there to use the skate park as it is to be intended to be used. But we do have a problem with people coming to the skate park to not use the skate park, instead use it as an area to cause mischief and rowdiness. In the last couple weeks, I've seen numerous fights over ridiculous reasons that there's no reason for the skate park to be the place to go fight and go consume alcohol and do all that jazz. I think if we have lights, it's going to stop 90% of that. I was there last night and it was very rowdy. There ended up probably 2 cops that drove by 10 times in the last hour. And then for the last 2 hours, I was there from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock. Just 2 cops sat there with their lights on, their spotlights, and watched the skaters because they had to, because of the mischief that's been happening. They sat there for 2 hours with their spotlights. They looked through my car, everyone's cars, just with their flashlights, trying to stop the mischief, which was happening. I think the lights could prevent so much of that from happening.
Make things easier. So something to add in as well.
Go right ahead.
Me. Here, you go back. You go back.
Oh, yeah, y'all gotta wrap up now.
Yeah. All right.
I think we have it.
I think that's it. I just want to say thank you so much for giving us your time to talk today and for listening to us. Thank you very much, Mayor and Commission.
Hold on. Any comments or questions for these?
I guess I would be interested in finding out from staff how we might be able to start investigating, how we can maybe resolve some of these issues, and if we can have staff get in touch with you all to maybe find out what might be the best steps forward and what's feasible. But very grateful that you've brought this concern to us.
Oh, yes, another thing was that we didn't only want to have our focus remain on preventing mischief and also drawing crowds for, you know, skate jams and upping the economy. We also really wanted to point out the fact that we have very, very loyal skaters in the Helena area, and we've all been very passionate about skating this park. We love it. And the more the lights on, the more we can skate. And this is what it's all about. We're trying to push this so we can skate. So yeah, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Mr.
Any
Mayor,
other, hold on.
Thank
Yes, go ahead.
In addition to Commissioner Dean's comments, I'd be interested particularly in investigating solar options for the park. And I would welcome input from the skate community on how best to light it and what some options might be. I think it's a great idea, and thanks for coming down.
Yeah, thank you for your guys' time. Thank you so much.
Mr. Mayor.
Any other comments? Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. Thank you both for being here, and thanks for bringing this to our attention. We spent a lot of time down in that park, whether it's walking around, playing with our dogs, going to the dog park. I think there's got to be some options. I really like the idea of solar lights or plugging solar into existing power that's down there. I think I've brought it up before as adding lights to our dog park for safety, because it is along the railroad, et cetera. But also too, I have seen some of the activity and you down in your area, but it's fun to see kids of all ages enjoying the skate park. So thanks for bringing this idea to us. Thanks.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. guys.
Okay, and yeah, would you leave your contact, I mean, if you have an organization, leave your contact information before you leave. And go ahead, Manager Burton.
Mayor, I was just gonna ask you if we could make
I
the
read
same
your
request.
mind.
Yes,
I
you
read your
did.
mind. Leave your contact information before you go, but are there opportunities for people my age to skate?
Yeah,
Oh, and
there's
You got beginners classes and all that kind of stuff?
all the time.
Yeah, we've actually seen a huge increase in not only young adults and young children coming over to the skate park to want to learn, but skating in general has become more popular because of social media. And we're getting a lot of adults that used to skate that are coming back and older people that are coming back to come skate. And so this would add to it as well. It would only be more fun. So
Thank you. Appreciate you coming.
Thank you for your time.
You bet.
you guys.
Do we have any others for public comments?
So, I don't know how this works, but my name's Brad Monty. I'm a chronic alcoholic. Today I've been sober 2,122 days. The reason I'm here is because I've started a ragtag camp of adults. I have all kinds up there. I've got mentally ill, I've got veterans, I got addicts, and I got drunks. We made the paper, we made the news, we made 2 moves. There's a lot of haters out there that want us out. We don't have nowhere to go. The paper said that we're there for necessity. Fact of the matter is, we are necessity. There are agencies in this town that are getting money to help people. Now, I don't know what happens to the money, and I'm not making any wild, I don't care where the money went. But there's people out here that have a need. And I've been watching back for the last year, and people have talked about it, and they've listed, and they've asked for input, and nothing has been done. There's an agency downtown called God's Love. And I've been 86 there quite a few times over the years. I'm a chronic alcoholic. I fought and I was a jerk and I deserved to be kicked out of there. But they never denied me a meal. They never denied me dignity. They never denied me respect. As an alcoholic, an addict, most of us are at the bottom of our pit. Some of us, dumb enough, we go rent a backhoe and we dig some more. We have problem with confidence. And it's not like we're a bunch of strangers. I've been here 35 years. I raised my children here because this is a good town and there's good people here. We have an efficient law enforcement that are tremendous. And I would like to thank them. Now, I don't know what we're going to do about this, but I've tried to do something and I've seen if I can do this with nothing, all I'm asking is that we start a dialogue and start doing something about this problem and allow these people to get their dignity back and get their self-respect back and build their confidence so that they can get on with their lives. Now, I've had some success stories. I got one guy that's got mental illness, got on the housing list, and he got a place at the Guardian. Got another guy that's been up there for 2 months. You might know him because Voodoo made the paper, his black cat. Smallest tent in camp, by the way. He got a job. He's been there 2 months. He got a job about a month ago at Safeway. He's remaining sober. And he's also been awarded or given housing at the Guardian as well. He's waiting for an opening, but he's next. I got some mentally ill up there. Somehow they got crossed from the list when the paper was up there. I got mentally ill people up there that I got one that the ware's getting money and he throws $100 at him every week just to get him under the carpet. He's a handful. I know that man. I knew him when he was in high school. He had dreams, he had aspirations, and a tragic accident took that all away from him. Now he belongs in a group home, and he smokes marijuana, and he completely gets kicked out every time. Well, in the process, he's been out there on the streets, and now he's hooked on meth. I have him up at camp, and he's doing wonderful, smoking marijuana. Some people like me and him, that's the only benefit there is. I'm a chronic alcoholic. I'm a typical alcoholic that usually dies of this disease. I've been drinking since I was 8 years old. I've had numerous DUIs, and it's destroyed my life, just as it's destroying these other lives. And we're not a bunch of strangers that rolled into town on some caravan or whatever. We're your neighbors. We're the ones that are in the pulpits with you in your churches. We're behind you at Walmart. We're on the side of the road when you're driving by. And we're forgotten. I'm here to rattle some cages. I want to get some people's attention because these are good people. And I know what everybody sees on the news and homeless encampments. I challenge you all to come to my encampment. It's a sobriety camp. I want to introduce all of my people and get their stories out, because there's a story behind each and every one of those faces. And the fact of the matter is, you guys are one paycheck away from being in the same boat as us. The economy's not doing good. And throwing money at this problem is making it worse. That mirror program, I couldn't get a place because of my past and because I have a dog. Now, I can't help about the past, and I will make their argument. Yep, I was a jerk. But I don't have to be a jerk forever, and I don't have to have a drink. And there's other people like that too. We just want our dignity. We want to be able to sleep at night and be able to make an appointment without getting kicked and roused in the middle of the night. And now we're walking around for 3 hours looking for some place to sleep. And then we got to take a shower, and now we're so tired we can't even make our appointment at night. And then you're worried about losing everything. I started a camp and people's got their stuff up there. They come to town and do their business and they go back home and their stuff is safe. We keep a clean camp, and our main goal is to be good neighbors. And I've had tremendous support from the neighbors, let me tell you. They have been awesome. That's what this town is about. That's what Montana is about. This ain't San Francisco. This ain't Portland, Oregon. This ain't Chicago. This is Helena, Montana. My people take pride in those mountains up there. And there's something about that aspen grove that can give you back a renewed spirit and life and a willingness to live. I went up there to die. Didn't have the balls to shoot myself. I thought I could drink myself to death. Okay. That aspen grove saved me. And I guess I don't know what I'm asking for, but I just want you guys to all come up to my camp, meet the people, check it out before all the hate talk and everything else comes out. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, thank you, sir. I will take you up on your challenge and visit with you tomorrow at your camp.
God bless you. Thank you.
You bet.
Mr. Mayor, if I might also, I just thank you, Rad, for coming down. I did get the chance to come up and meet some of the people. I encourage you all to do the same. It is as described. It is a beautiful, well-kept place. I appreciate everything you're doing, and I also look forward to continuing conversations with you. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any other public comments?
Mayor, Commissioners, Teresa Ortega, Good Samaritan Ministries, but also a private citizen of Helena. I just want to say a couple of things. When we talk about peer support,
This is the epitome of peer support. He is not making up stories when he says he has people up there that couldn't get what they needed, but the grouping around them supported them to get to their meetings. Their PO officers are coming up there to meet with them because it's a safe, stable place for them. There are people that are there just to get a job and have a place to stay before they move on. So I ask that you please consider some kind of, we're not asking for money. How do we do this? We make this place because obviously we don't have enough homeless shelters here in town. And this was taken on partly because of that. So I am so glad you're going to go up there. We've had many visitors up at the camp. So thank you so much for listening to them, and what's being done up there is just amazing. So thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other public comments? Madam Clerk, do we have any online?
Mr. Mayor, I have no public comment online.
Any final comments from the commission? This meeting is adjourned.